So I will start by welcoming everyone to this webinar. It's the first one we're having. The topic is Future of Work, Distributed Models in Professional Services. And we have with us Mr. Clive Rich, who is the founder and chairman of Lawbite. I think without saying more, I'll hand it over to Clive and let him introduce himself and also Lawbite.
Sure. Well, hello, Asif, and hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me today. Very nice to be here. So Lawbite is a law tech enterprise, and our mission is to democratize the law for SMEs. So we operate a marketplace between SMEs and expert lawyers, SMEs being small, medium-sized enterprises. And we do that through a platform, through a technology platform, proprietary platform. And the platform enables us to match the right lawyer with the right client using machine learning tools. And it also enables us to provide a complete kind of workflow and communication system for client and lawyer to work together in the same space in real time. And the client can upload documents and edit and share documents. They can get engagement terms from the lawyer. They can communicate with the lawyer in real time. We have a proprietary app that's a bit like WhatsApp for lawyers, synced into the platform. They can run their subscription product off the platform. They can run their milestones off the platform. So they can do everything they need to do in the platform space. And we've been going pretty well. We've dealt with over 30,000 SME inquiries so far, and we have 60 lawyers currently covering everything from startup to exit for SMEs. They're all provided through our own regulated law firm called Law Briefs, but they sit on the platform, and so they can be working anywhere. And so the point of the platform is to connect SMEs who can be anywhere, indeed in any country, with lawyers who can be anywhere as well, and provide them with an efficient experience which is affordable, fast, and easy to use, rather than expensive, slow, and complicated, which is what most SMEs are used to.
Very interesting. Clive, what is a distributed model? So it's in the title, and I don't know if everyone here, all our audience is familiar with distributed models. So if you can explain that to us, it would be helpful.
Sure. So for us, what a distributed model means is that the lawyers are not all in an office. So we don't have a big office building with mahogany desks and marble hallways. We have a very small unit where I'm sitting now, where we run the tech and the marketing, and the lawyers are distributed all over the country. So they're able to be connected with work through the platform, be connected with their clients through the platform, and do the work from home. And I think they really enjoy this. It provides a lot of efficiencies for them, and it means we don't have to maintain the expense and effort of having a big expensive building, and we don't have to charge clients for the cost of running that structure. So yes, that's really what a distributed model means to us.
Okay, thank you. And are you the only distributed model firm in the UK, or are there others?
No, there are an increasing number. I think COVID has probably encouraged that, because it's it sort of made people of necessity work from home, and of course once they start doing it, they realise some of the benefits. I think that the unique thing that we have is that we tie it all together with a technology platform where clients and lawyers can get the work done. So lots of other distributed workforces are working quite traditionally with clients, in the sense that once you're introduced to the client, you're working off email and attachments and Word documents and all the usual paraphernalia of a physical office space. whereas with us, the technology actually helps you get the work done. And we operate a client care team, which is a team of real people that sits around the platform and services the SME clients and services the lawyers and makes sure that nothing falls over and that the technology runs smoothly and is optimized for everybody.
Okay, thank you. I think while we have Clive warmed up now, why don't we continue with the questions we have for Clive? Bilal, I'll let you moderate, and then we can switch to myself, and I can introduce Sidekick and discuss our platform.
So I believe the distributed model has been explained quite extensively. So Clive, how has the professions are changing rapidly because of this distributed models and remote working. So how is technology changing, in particular, the legal profession?
Well, first of all, it enables those kind of distributed models to operate more efficiently.
Right.
And in our case, that applies not just to the lawyers, but the staff as well. So when it was not lawful to have people come to an office, we were able to operate perfectly efficiently at home with everyone plugged into the platform. Alongside that, there's a whole host of platforms and tools that are changing the way lawyers do work. That are, for example, analysing contracts for them and doing contract reviews and helping them do due diligence, backed up by machine learning, that are enabling lawyers to have access to precedents and legal knowledge on an automated basis. So there are a lot of technology tools out there which are pointed at the legal profession and enabling lawyers to do things more efficiently. There are fewer tools like ours that are pointed at clients and enable clients to get the best of the new technology environment. But that was something we wanted to do from the get-go. We were very much driven by what SME clients need, and we had a sense that lawyers aren't always very good at thinking about things like that. And so we built the platform with their needs in mind. So there are lots of tools out there that enable distributed working, better practice for lawyers, and some tools that are pointed at customers, though not that many.
Right. And in terms of productivity, does this vary with profession, or is the productivity same when it comes to remote working and distributed models?
I can't talk for all other professions. I think it probably varies. In our case, it's been fine because the platform enables a lot of transparency as to not only what the lawyers are doing, but what the staff are doing, because everything is recorded on the platform, every activity. Right. I think we were also fortunate that our model suited the COVID environment. So it's a fast, affordable, tech-driven, easy to use. So all the things people were looking for in COVID, we just did naturally anyway. And so we experienced a surge of demand during COVID. And so that, I think, was very motivating for our staff, because they could feel that they were part of something that felt like it was being successful and being useful for people. I think whatever the profession, there are some downsides to not all being in an office. There are sort of intangible benefits from being in the same environment, chatting, socializing, discussing business ideas and business projects. So I think you lose something through all of that being done remotely. And as the world recovers, I can see there being, a bit of a hybrid where the distributed model won't go away, but there'll be some engagement in the office environment, because it's good for people. It's good. We're a social species, and it's good for people to be able to interact to some extent in person.
Are you maintaining traction as things have opened up in the UK? So there's a surge during the lockdown. Traction is still there and increasing.
Yeah. So I don't think people are going to go back to slow, expensive, complicated law just because they can. So I think that that Pandora's box is open now, and it won't get shut again. There are some environmental factors that make a difference. So I think the SME audience that we work with is pretty exhausted now by the fact it's been going on for 18 months. Their resources are stretched. A lot of the government support schemes are coming to an end now. In terms of paying to have staff not made redundant, and tax deferments. A lot of the loans the government paid out start to become repayable about now. So I think we're noticing that SMEs are a bit strapped for cash at the moment, but the basic momentum remains positive, and I don't think it's going to go backwards from here.
Interesting.
Right. And this question is actually linked to the questions that we've just answered. I mean, is remote work and distributed models, distributed teams here to stay? Yeah. I mean, do you see any future for this?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, from a lawyer point of view, they can work from home. They can be on the platform when they want to. We do all the marketing and create the demand. They only have to do the work of the kind that they want when they want to do it, and the platform caters for their timetable, so we know when they're available and when they're not available. They can save a lot of time and money not travelling to the office. That's if any of you commute into big cities, that's a fairly tiresome and expensive process the world over, I expect. So for lawyers looking for a work-life balance, I think it's been a great discovery, and I'm sure that's the same in other professions as well. So I don't think it will go away. I just think there'll be, as I say, there'll be some movement back to offices just because it's good for people, in terms of mental well-being and also efficiency as well. I think it's good for people to be able to engage with people in real time, somewhat, not the whole time, but just some of the time.
Correct. And currently, is Lawbite only providing services inside UK, or are you also touching other markets as well outside?
No, we took on an investor last year called Taylor Vinters, which is a big city London law firm, and they have affiliated law firms in 70 countries, but they don't have any technology. So what we've been doing is onboarding those lawyers onto our platform in different countries, and they're providing the Lawbite attributes, the Lawbite experience in those countries through the platform, and we are continuing to moderate the customer experience wherever we go, and everyone's operating under the Lawbite brand, so it feels like a seamless experience for customers in whatever country we're in. But we're starting to reach customers outside the UK, and affordable, understandable law is not just a desire in the UK; it's a desire around the world for SMEs in every country. There are about 450 million SMEs around the world. They all need this. So we're quite hopeful that we'll be able to add value for SMEs wherever we go, and countries like Pakistan are certainly on our radar, and we'd like to get in there. We know you have a thriving SME community, and we're sure we can hopefully add some value both for local SMEs and those looking to trade in other countries, including the UK, because the nature of the platform is that it acts as a hub and so whichever country you want to trade in or export to, you can take care of all your legal needs through the one platform.
Do you have existing SMEs from Pakistan or clients based in Pakistan using Lawbite?
We have some, but we've sort of reached those on an organic basis. People just found us or recommended us. So there's a steady trickle, but we'd like it to be, a consolidated thing. I think there's an opportunity there.
Yeah. I mean, on that point, I think there's a strong business corridor between the UK and Pakistan. So, as you know, there's a huge Pakistani diaspora in the UK.
Yeah, exactly.
And there are a lot of Pakistani business people who, have the UK almost as a second home and do a lot of business there as well. So, I think the flow is both ways with Pakistani citizens doing business in the UK and vice versa. UK British citizens of Pakistani origin and others. Those who are not of Pakistani origin doing business in Pakistan. I think it's quite a large corridor between the two countries.
Yeah, I agree. So definitely an opportunity. Expect that's something we can keep talking about with you.
Yeah, no, that keen to do that.
Right. So now we move on to our second speaker, Mr. Asif Saifullah. Asif, can you introduce yourself and the company and all?
Yeah, my name, as you know, is Asif Saifullah. I am the founder and CEO of Sidekick. Sidekick is an online marketplace connecting startups and SMEs with business professionals in Pakistan. So on the one hand, we've got startups and SMEs. We've got the platform which sits in between, and on the other side, we've got business professionals. By business professionals, we mean lawyers, accountants, and tax advisors. So it's not only lawyers, we've onboarded the other two professions as well. And we're taking on independent practitioners as well as firms of practitioners. In addition to being an online marketplace, we have a dedicated knowledge bank. At the moment, it's actually legal guidance, and soon we'll have template documents there as well, which are available to a startup and SME audience. So you can easily find information you need without having to dig through very detailed or boring material that's pitched to the startup and SME community. And what transparency is at the heart of what we do. So we want to ensure that our startups and SMEs can make an informed choice before they engage a professional. And the two of the most important areas are quality and costs. So the platform allows you to rate every professional after an engagement and read testimonials as well. On the cost side, when you post a query, you get multiple quotes from professionals, which allows you to benchmark the price as well. So it brings transparency into the market for you. So that's what we're doing. That's Sidekick. And we started actually development beginning of this year. We reached essentially MVP stage in July. Our apps were published in August. So if you go on our website, we do have both Android and iOS apps available, which help facilitate the connection between the client and the professional. A lot like Lawbite's platform.
Right. So how did you come up with the idea of Sidekick? I mean, was this a planned and a researched move?
Yeah, it was planned. I've had actually, just for full disclosure, I'm a small investor in Lawbite. I think I first invested there around about 5 years ago. So I've been familiar with such models from the UK point of view. From the Pakistan perspective, being a professional and admitted to practice in Pakistan as well, I always had friends who would ask me to refer other professionals to them. So they were doing, even while I was based in the UK, when they needed a lawyer here, they'd ask me to, put them in touch. What I realized is that most of the search goes through essentially word of mouth. So people ask their friends and then they refer them to other people. And what I found from speaking to a lot of my friends was that about half of them weren't satisfied with the professional they did find that way. So I felt that there was a gap there where we could provide more transparency and facilitate that ability for you to connect with business professionals. I think the other thing I picked up while speaking to SMEs in Pakistan was that they had to compromise on quality and cost, right? So the top end of professionals priced too high for their business. And also those top end professionals, the very large firms are actually not interested in acquiring these smaller companies. They feel that if they price their services at this level, it actually confuses the market and they kind of stay away. And so there's this challenge that they faced of getting high quality professionals. And we thought we can come in and create a platform which streamlines it, makes it easier for them. I think what is the most important aspect though is timing, right? So, UK is much more digitized compared to Pakistan. We understand that doing things through digital platforms requires a huge change in consumer behavior. So in my mind, when is the right time was always in the back of my mind. And I think the COVID pandemic made me realize that it's actually the right time to press ahead. A lot of that consumer behavior was affected by the pandemic. They were forced to work remotely. They were forced to engage distributed teams. Even large corporates had to survive by engaging that way. And I think that now the Pakistani market, I find, is ready or getting ready to engage remotely. And you see that consumer behavior change in a lot of spaces as well, not just services, more so in goods. So e-commerce is rapidly growing. The likes of Daraz and IKEA have done fantastic work in that space, but I think the pandemic has majorly accelerated their growth. Separately, take the example of something as simple as a ledger for a Karyana store or a dukandar. A lot of that is going onto an app as well with these khata book or credit book type platforms as well. So I think that the rapid pace of digitization in the economy generally is kind of affecting or helping the consumer behavior change.
Right. And there's and we are seeing so much of mushroom growth of these marketplaces. Every other business is coming online. So how do you so how do you compare? How does a consumer compare in quality? I mean, do you think are Pakistani users ready for such type of online services without having any trust issues?
That's a great question. I think that trust issues are always there, and I think it's for the business to help the consumer or the users gain trust. So we seek to do that, or we do that by having a very clear disputes policy on our platform. The platform is paid, for the work upfront, and we hold that pending completion of the matter. So if there is any issue in terms of quality of work, we've got a disputes policy where we come in and moderate or mediate between the two parties and try to ensure that the client, gets the best quality work as possible. Additionally, to win trust, we vet every professional before they're allowed to join our platform. So it's not an open application where anyone can put their CV, their details, and create an account. No, we actually see that everyone is qualified to perform the services that they're seeking to perform on the platform, that they've got the right qualifications, and we ask around as well in our network to get feedback. So that's another aspect where we how we win trust. And thirdly, the ratings and review system on here as well. I think that's become almost a demand of consumers everywhere, whether it's in the goods or services space. They want to be able to see ratings and reviews, and by providing those, there's some transparency in terms of the quality of service, and we hope that can win the trust of our consumers too.
And do you think the existing government policies are encouraging for the growth of e-commerce businesses and marketplaces such as Sidekick?
The short answer is yes, and I think the proof is in the pudding. So this year alone, I think over $200 million have been raised by Pakistani startups. I think that's more than double that was raised, or maybe about getting close to double the amount that was raised the whole of last year, right? And I think if you see the 5 years prior and you add it up, it's roughly that number too. I don't have the exact statistics, but there's been a huge leap. Why has there been a leap? So a lot of it credit has to go to government policies. In particular, the governor of the state bank is very open-minded, and he hears startups what their needs are. So they have facilitated actually foreign investment into Pakistani startups. In addition, I think this SECP has done a lot. So the Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan, which is effectively the company registrar, among other purposes they serve, they have created a one-window solution and an online registration service. So you register online and you also get your NTN through a one-window solution. I think that has sped up the registration of companies in Pakistan as well, and we've moved up in the ease of doing business rankings too, globally. And to add to that, I'd say that Imran Khan has always had a lot of currency with the Pakistani diaspora, wherever that is. You can be in the UAE, the UK, the US, the diaspora has always loved Imran Khan and trusted him as an individual. I think he's attracted a lot of the diaspora who's been successful overseas to return to Pakistan, especially in the startup space. The people who've worked in the likes of Google, Amazon, Facebook are now helping the Pakistani ecosystem as well. So I think that has been very positive too from the side of the government. And I don't want to be a partisan either to say it's only this current government that has helped e-commerce and online platforms and let's call it digital business. There have been some great policies by the last government as well, and credit to this government for continuing those. So your national incubation centers, for example, have really helped startups get the right type of mentoring and access to networks and strategy that they require to scale their business. So yeah, overall, I'd say that yes, the government has been very helpful in this space.
Right. And I mean, this question just came to me, while I was, while you were explaining the one window operation and everything. And I'm sure there are a lot of aspiring founders in the audience as well. So, I mean, what kind of initial challenges did you face when starting up Sidekick?
That's a good question. So I had the benefit of a Saif group, resource, and I can see from the list of attendees that there are a number of members of Saif group here. So thank you for joining. So I have an unfair advantage from that perspective. But when I incorporated Sidekick in Pakistan, I made sure that everything I do, I actually document the process and see it, from start to end myself. So I understand the journey. In addition to that, I've also had conversations with many startups and SMEs on their journey. So when it comes to challenges, I was definitely had a leg up and an advantage. But the main challenge I'd say is opening a bank account in Pakistan. I'll give you, a comparison to my experience in the UK. When I set up a limited company in the UK and set up my bank account, all I had to do was download an app. It was a challenger bank for SMEs. Essentially put in my passport details, do a KYC scan of my face on the platform. It confirmed my identity, and about 3 business days later, I had a card and I had access to an account which I could fund. I think all in all, from the time of downloading the app to actually getting the card and the account funded, it took 1 week, right? So extremely quick, extremely efficient. In Pakistan, with facilitation to open our bank account, took almost 4 weeks. And there's a lot of paperwork required in opening a bank account. Thumbprints were required. I physically had to be in Pakistan. biometrics are required. Showing being physically present at the bank is required. So I think that is the key area where I think that the regulator needs to step in and essentially maybe work together with NADRA as well, because we've got a very significant database of biometrics and identities, but to actually sync it between the state bank and other regulators, so that this process can speed up and requires less paperwork. So let's take the UK example. Never showed up at a branch, never had to meet anyone face to face, and I was able to get a challenger bank account. In Pakistan, from an SME perspective, that doesn't exist, and I think there's some players who are trying to disrupt the space in the consumer banking space now. I think as of today, actually, one of them, SadaPay, just got their license or approval from State Bank. Moving on to other areas like company registration, it was very streamlined and easy, not very different to the UK. I think registering our trademark was also pretty straightforward. And there was a bit of discrepancy between what was required on the website as what was required at the IPO office in Islamabad. So I would say, that we need to kind of ensure that those mismatches aren't there, and to help our SMEs and our startups that way by ensuring that government websites are up to date. But yeah, the banking was difficult, and adding to that, actually getting a payment gateway as well took about 6 weeks. It was about 4 weeks just to get the account active, and then it was another week and a half or so to kind of manage the technology. So that was between their sandbox team and our team. But yeah, it can take up to 6 weeks to get a local payment gateway activated, which is a long time in the business world.
Right, interesting. So now there's a lot of hype about this, fintech word going around. I mean, every other person is talking about fintech and going into this fintech space. So do you, as a Sidekick, plan to expand into fintech space in near future?
I think it's way too early for us now. So we are trying to build this business brick by brick and stay focused on our core business, which is to be an online marketplace connecting startups and SMEs with business professionals. But we throughout our journey, we want to be speaking to our user base, and that is primarily, again, I'm going to say startups and SMEs, and we want to know what other pain points and challenges they face in their lives, right? We want to be their sidekick. We want to facilitate them so that they can focus on their core business, and things like legal, accounting, tax, and other administrative or banking related matters can be dealt with by a trusted party. So I think at this stage, we're not looking at anything actively, but would like to get user feedback. I mean, just as an example, there's no challenger kind of bank account in Pakistan designed for startups and SMEs. There's no mobile equivalent of that either. Pakistan is, I think, the 4th largest freelance marketplace in the world. So the huge numbers of Pakistanis are on Fiverr and Upwork providing services. Do they have any bank account or bank account-like product which they can use to manage their expenses and track that through to accounting and taxation as well? That doesn't exist yet. So I think that there's opportunity in this space, but we want to understand what our users need first, and before we make any decisions in that space. And more importantly, before that, we need to build our core business before moving into other spaces.
Right. I think that's all from my side of the questions. I mean, we can move on to the Q&A. There's an interesting question, actually, and I think, Asif, you might be able to answer this. A lot of people want to know that, why is it called Sidekick?
Okay. I think I briefly touched on it. I can't translate Sidekick in Urdu. I need to ask someone to give me a good translation in Urdu, and maybe that will help explain what Sidekick means. But the reason we came up with the name is, let's give you an analogy. Remember Batman, right? We all watched Batman growing up. He had Robin around, so Batman did the core task, and then Robin was there to assist and help him in his mission. So
Yeah.
we understand that most startups and SMEs aren't in the profession of law, accounting, and taxation. They could be in marketing, they could be in technology, they could be in healthcare, in any other sector. But we also understand that legal, accounting, and tax are extremely important, and without giving focus to those three areas, it's impossible to actually grow your business and succeed. But at the same time, you don't have the resource to have dedicated people covering these sectors. So you can't have an in-house legal person. Yes, many people will have an in-house finance person. That's more normal, but you don't necessarily have an in-house tax advisor either. So we want to be your facilitator, where you can outsource legal, accounting, and tax through our platform to a sidekick effectively, who will take care of all of that for you and get that headache and that pain off your plate so you can focus back on your core business. And that's kind of the maybe a visual explanation. So think of Batman and Robin.
Right. Someone wrote a comment saying that sidekick means Karibi dost. So I think that's also pretty much true.
Yeah. So I mean, Clive just so we translate that in English. Karibi dost means close friend. And I don't know if many attendees here will see their lawyer or their professional service provider as a close friend. We want to be someone you can call up when you're in a difficult situation and help you solve your issue. So act like a close friend in the professional space.
Right. So in particular to startups, what steps are you taking? I mean, are you in contact with the incubation centers or the software technology parks?
Yeah, so it's a key way we're looking to market our business. So we are in touch with co-working spaces and software export parks. In fact, this week we just signed an MOU with Fazal Software Technology Park, which is based in Islamabad. We will be operating a Sidekick desk there. So they have an audience of 20 to 25 startups and SMEs who are mainly software exporters based there. And they have a lot of legal and tax related queries. So our Sidekick service desk will help them. We're also in discussions with a few others in Islamabad and are hoping to sign MOUs with them soon. We're also speaking to co-working spaces. Again, there's a rapid growth in co-working in Pakistan post-pandemic. And we want to be there as well to provide the startups and SMEs with legal, accounting, and tax help.
Asif sir, I have a question for you. Some of the attendees and audience have raised few of the questions for you. Can you answer to those questions as well?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the questions now. So someone asks, can you please elaborate a little more about the vetting process of professionals?
Yes, exactly.
That's a very good question. So on our website, we've got a form. The form requires you to submit, obviously, your basic details, but also, depending on your type of profession, your professional qualification, so proof of your admission. If you're a lawyer, it's your bar council license. If you're an ICAP, a regulated professional, it's proof that you're certified by ICAP. We also require you to submit your CV and with the CV, an explanation of why you want to be on Sidekick. We take that information then and we, in a kind of traditional old-fashioned way at the moment, we ask around about the professional to see what their reputation is in the market, ensure that they actually are qualified before we take them to the next step. And then the next step is to approve them and allow them to create a profile onto the platform. So that's a quick summary of the process we undertake.
The second question is about, if you see in the most recent one, sent by Muhammad Ali Azam. if you read it, and can you answer that question as well?
What is your plan to capture market? Why will professionals join your platform if they're getting better in local market as they are away from digital platform? It's a really good question. So I don't think that we are, we intend to capture the whole market, right? Traditional professionals, are in a way are our affiliates. So we are onboarding independent practitioners as well as firms, and we provide a new channel by which they can acquire clients. So the reason they'd want to join us is, let's say a firm is recently founded 2 years ago, it's 2 partners, and they're based in the Islamabad or Rawalpindi area. You get so busy with your practice, it takes up most of your day. I know this as a professional lawyer. You don't have time to do business development all across Pakistan. With a platform like Sidekick, we are acquiring users or clients throughout the country. So this expands your potential network if you're on Sidekick. So I think that's a key benefit that they get. So we do all the marketing. We essentially do all the social media. We do all the development of technology to streamline your connection between between the client and the professional, and you don't have to bear any of that cost, but you do get clients coming through to you.
And the second one question is about raised by Mr. Weather. Could you please elaborate how you incorporate feedback and testimonial section in your platform?
Let me jump. Before I go to that, I feel like I've been speaking for quite a while. Is Clive still on the call? I'm curious.
No, he's not here.
No, he's not on the call.
Okay. Because there's one question on pricing and subscription options, which I wanted to ask Clive. They've got an interesting subscription model, which they've developed over the years of being in business. So feedback and testimonials, at the end of any engagement with a professional, you're able to rate that professional on a star rating basis on value for money, skill, and what's the third metric we've got? So you've got value for money, skills, and experience. So you're essentially forced at the end of an engagement to rate the professional, a lot like you rate your Uber driver, right? But that's just on one metric, or 1 or 5 stars. And also you're asked to provide a testimonial too. So you can write free text, and that testimonial gets attached to their profile on the platform so that future users can see that. And that's very similar to what, let's say, an Upwork or Fiverr does. I think there's not much difference in the way we operate that. Thank you for that question.
He's saying, Mr. Abdul Ahad Akram is saying, how do you ensure service delivery, especially with the respect of time and completion?
So the engagement, your engagement as a client, as a startup or SME is with the professional. We have a function in the platform which allows you to set milestones. So I think that creates transparency in terms of timelines. So you can set out, the professional can set out when things are due. And then we expect, of course, the professional to communicate with the client if it's being delayed. What we do, though, is if a matter is majorly delayed and the client is not happy with the outcome of the work, we've got a disputes and a complaints policy, so that the clients can come to us and say, we had agreed X milestone. This was due by the 15th of September, and now it's the 15th of October, and we still haven't received it. Clearly, there's an issue from the point of view of communication. and also from the point of view of customer service. We step in there. So in that case, clearly we wouldn't pay the professional, and we would refund the client the monies they've paid. And actually, before refund, or at the point of refunding, we'll also make sure that we can find the client another professional who can complete the matter on their behalf. So we're always there to act as an independent party, moderating between the two to ensure that the quality of work is top notch and that their problem is solved. I think one other aspect I haven't mentioned, and this is also clear on our website in the terms and conditions, is if a professional fails to meet our standards consistently, we have the discretion to remove them from the platform. So, in this case, it would be essentially a first strike. If the professional were to do it again, we would exercise our discretion to remove them or suspend their account as well. So that too there's a feedback loop which ensures that the quality of professionals on the platform are good, and ones that our clients are happy from. Their clients on the platform are satisfied with. So we're now at running close to the end of this webinar. Yeah, I think we've had some great questions. Thank you all for joining. Before I close it up, I just want to ask Kashif to drop in our email address and also our telephone number into the chat, and our website, so that our attendees know where to get information. Just know that you can reach us on WhatsApp. We've got a WhatsApp group on our website as well. And please go on our website, Sidekick.pk, check out our apps. They're available to download. We have a group of professionals who are onboarded and who are ready to serve you and are actually, very keen to help you with your problems. So go ahead and post your queries onto there. You'll be connected, very soon with accountants, lawyers, and tax advisors. Give it a try. It's ready to use. So I'd say on that note, a final thank you again. Kashif has shared our details. I think, Bilal, I just want to hand it over to you on our future webinar. We have things in the pipeline.
Our next webinar would be actually a very interesting webinar, which will be on the current topic of AI and machine learning. And we have some very experienced speakers who will be joining us for that webinar. So, so please do join us for that. We will be, announcing the dates and the, formal announcement will be, released shortly on our social media platforms.
Thank you all again for joining, and thanks Bilal for moderating, and thank you Kashif for.
So nice of you. And from my side, I will also welcome you all, and also thankful to you that you take out time and join for this session as well.
Take care. Khuda Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Bye-bye.